When I was 30 years old, I was outside minding my own business, doing my early morning cardio. The sun wasn't even up yet, just a gray light rising over the trees. Then suddenly, I noticed an unusual orange glow in the distance. At first, I thought it might be a small campfire or someone burning trash, but this light was much stronger. As I got closer, I stopped immediately. There was a car at the side of the road, half in a ditch, completely on fire. Flames were shooting out of the windows, metal was popping, and glass was cracking. It looked like something from an action movie. The heat was so intense that I couldn't get any closer. I stood there with my phone shaking in my hand as I dialed 911, my heart racing. A few minutes passed, it felt like forever, before the fire finally started to die down. Thick smoke was still rising into the air. I stepped forward carefully, just close enough to look inside. That's when I saw him. A man, or what was left of him, was slumped in the driver's seat. Completely burned, his clothes gone, his skin cracked like burned wood. The whole scene was silent, except for the faint crackling of the last burning pieces. I backed away quickly, covering my mouth, trying not to get sick. I tried to get passing cars to stop, but everyone slowed down, took one look, and kept their distance. No one wanted to get near that scene. I shouted for other cars to stop, but everyone only slowed down, took one look, and stayed far away, as if the ground itself was dangerous. Soon, sirens began to echo in the distance. Police cars arrived, firefighters rushed out, and the entire road quickly turned into a crime scene. One of the officers picked up a large plastic bottle they found near the burned car. It was melted on one side and still smelled strongly of benzene. He shook his head and said, "Yeah, someone did this on purpose." Nobody knew who the man in the car was. Nobody knew who burned him. But one thing was clear. This was not an accident. This was a message. After the firefighters confirmed the area was safe, the detectives arrived. They taped off the scene, took photos, and spoke quietly among themselves. One investigator picked up the melted bottle carefully with a glove. "It's just a large water jug," he said, "but the smell of benzene is strong. Someone used this to start the fire." The lead detective, Torres, an older, serious man, sighed heavily. "The body is completely burned. No fingerprints. No ID. Nothing. We're starting from zero." Then one of the young officers called out, "The license plate didn't melt completely." Torres immediately looked over. "Well, that's something." They ran the license plate number. It matched a car owned by Eli Carter, a 43-year-old man who owned a small car parts and tire shop called Carter Auto Supply on Route 17. Detective Torres and his partner, Hall, drove to the shop. Inside, they saw only one man, thin, tired-looking, wearing dirty overalls with grease stains. He had earbuds hanging from his neck and looked like he hadn't slept in days. He froze when the detectives entered. "Good morning," Torres said. "Do you work here?" The man nodded nervously. "Yes, my name is Trevor." "What's going on?" "We're looking for your boss, Eli Carter." "Have you seen him?" Torres asked. Trevor rubbed the back of his neck, his eyes shifting nervously. "Eli? No. Not since last night. He closed the shop and said he had some errands to run." "Why?" Hall looked slowly around the store, tall stacks of tires, shelves filled with parts, and an old radio playing quiet classic rock in the background. Torres stepped closer and lowered his voice. "Trevor, we found Eli's car burned on the side of the highway. There was a body inside. We need to know if Eli had any problems. Money issues? Arguments? Anyone angry with him?" Trevor's face turned pale immediately, as if all the color drained out of him. "What? Eli? No, he's a good man. Everyone likes him. I mean..." He suddenly stopped speaking. "Go on," Torres said firmly. "Don't stop now." Trevor swallowed hard. Well, yesterday a man came in. A big guy. Very angry. He said Eli sold him faulty tires. But honestly, Eli wouldn't do that. The man was shouting so loudly that people outside could hear him. Eli took him into the back office to calm him down. And then? Hall asked. Trevor shrugged. The man walked out about 10 minutes later, slamming the door. Eli didn't want to talk about it afterward. He looked shaken. Scared, maybe. Torres and Hall exchanged a serious look. An angry customer. A private conversation. A missing boss. A burned car with a body inside. Something was definitely wrong. Torres had just unlocked the car door when Hall asked quietly. Do you think this Rick guy could have done it? Torres tightened his jaw. I think we just found our first real lead. They were about to drive back to Carter Auto Supply to ask more questions about Rick Dalton when suddenly Trevor rushed out of the shop. He waved both arms, looking alarmed, as if he had just remembered something important. Detectives! Wait, he shouted. Torres and Hall stopped beside the car. Trevor jogged over, out of breath. There's something else I forgot to tell you. Torres folded his arms. Go ahead, Trevor. What is it? Eli had a friend who often came over to drink at his place. His name was Charles, and he worked as a taxi driver. Torres raised an eyebrow. Was he close to Eli? Yes, Trevor replied. Like best friends. They would drink wine, stay up late, talk about business, talk about life. Charles was always at Eli's place. Hall sighed. Great. Another name to check. Instead of going to Rick, Torres and Hall drove to Charles's neighborhood, a rundown apartment block with walls that looked like they had seen better days. They found Charles just finishing his shift, still in his taxi uniform, looking tired and worn out. Charles Walker? You're coming with us, Torres said firmly. Charles froze. What did I do? You'll tell us at the station, Torres replied. At the station, they sat Charles under a harsh yellow light that made everyone look uneasy. Torres leaned forward, eyes locked on him. Where were you yesterday? Charles wiped his forehead. I was with Eli at Carter's place. We bought wine and then went to my house to hang out. Were you alone? Hall asked. No. My girlfriend was with me. Charles nodded quickly, too quickly. We all drank and talked. Around midnight, Eli left to go home. I stayed with my girlfriend. Then I went home too, because I'm married. My wife doesn't know about her. Hall shot Torres a look. Torres tilted his head. So you and Eli separated around midnight? Yeah. He went his way, I went mine. Straight home? Hall asked. Why yes. Home. Torres gave a slow, serious smile, the kind that usually meant someone had just stepped into trouble. All right. Sit tight for a few minutes. They stepped out of the room, and Torres called over Officer Jennings, the youngest officer, fast and alert. Jennings, go to Charles's house. Ask his wife when he got home last night. Don't warn her, don't hint at anything. Just ask. Jennings nodded and ran off. 10 minutes later, he returned, out of breath. Detective Torres, you're going to want to hear this. Torres motioned for him to come closer, pulling him aside. Jennings leaned in quietly. His wife said he didn't come home until dawn, around 5 or 6 in the morning. Hall whistled softly. So he lied to us. Torres cracked his knuckles. Bring Charles back in. We have a liar, and maybe our suspect. Here's where the case took a shocking turn. Charles and his friend, Ellie Carter, had been drinking that night, laughing and talking as if everything was normal. But it wasn't. Ellie had been acting too friendly with Charles's girlfriend, flirting openly, and they were planning to meet in secret. When Charles found out, he became furious. A heated argument quickly escalated into a fight. Furniture was knocked over, bottles were broken, and shouting could be heard from the street. Charles was extremely angry and lost control. During the fight, Charles grabbed a hammer and struck Ellie multiple times. By the time the chaos ended, Ellie Carter was dead. Charles's girlfriend panicked and ran from the house before he could stop her. Afterward, Charles carried Ellie's body to his car, placed it inside, and drove to a secluded area. He then poured gasoline over the car and set it on fire. The vehicle quickly became engulfed in flames, lighting up the road. Charles walked away, believing he had destroyed all evidence. But investigators were already piecing together the truth. Charles was sentenced today to 30 years in prison. Crime does not pay. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.